Welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare medieval pastero de polastri, a chicken pie from Anonimo Veneziano's Libro di Cucina, written in the 14th century. We start with the ingredients. We need chicken, pork jowl, raisins, flour, lard, eggs, verjuice and spices, black pepper, ginger, cinnamon, cloves and saffron. We mince the ginger, grind the other spices, debone the chicken, chop it into small pieces, and slice the pork jowl. Then we mix the chicken with the raisins, the spices, and 2 pinches of salt. We used about 400 grams of deboned chicken, 50 grams of pork jowl, and 100 grams of raisins to make 4 small pasteri. Anonimo Veneziano doesn't specify which spices to use, so we chose a blend of fine spices from another passage of his cookbook. You can also use other spices such as nutmeg, grains of paradise, cinnamon flowers, or other types of pepper. Instead of cured pork fatback, we used pork jowl, but pork belly is also a good option. Venetian pastero is the same pie called pastillum, pastello, or pasticcio in other sources. Medieval authors don't describe how to prepare the crust, although Maestro Martino writes in a passage that it should be thicker than lasagna. In another recipe, the crust is pre-cooked, after being filled with flour to maintain its shape. Bartolomeo Scappi and Cristoforo Messisbugo, in the Renaissance, recommend mixing the flour with some fats and sometimes eggs, spices, and other ingredients. Depending on whether it is a lean or fat recipe, the fats can be lard, butter, or olive oil. A pastello can be large or small. Sometimes the crust is wrapped around its stuffing, which can be a whole fish, bird, or fruit, for example. When the ingredients are mixed and minced, the size is up to the cook's choice. A pastello usually has a hole on top, through which liquid is poured to finish cooking, a technique found throughout the Middle Ages and Renaissance. We need the flour with lard, eggs, water and salt, and let the dough rest for half an hour. We used about 500 grams of flour, 100 grams of lard, 100 milliliters of water, and 1 egg. But if you use a mold, you can make a softer dough. Then we roll 4 crusts about half a centimeter thick. Fill them with the chicken, add a few slices of pork jowl, and close the pies, leaving a hole on top. The source of today's recipe is one of the most beautiful Italian medieval cookbooks, written in the Venetian vernacular. The text contains 135 recipes, meant for a medieval court, many of which are easy to recreate. The preparations include soups, pies, bread, pasta, meat and fish. There are also several sweets and fruit preserves, which are quite rare in the cookbooks from this period. Anonimo Veneziano's recipes are fascinating and full of spices and aromas, allowing us a complete and immersive experience in the incredible world of medieval flavors. Our translation of the book includes an extensive introduction to its cultural context and information about ingredients and basic preparations, as well as a detailed glossary of Venetian terms. If you're interested in how meat and pies were prepared throughout history, check out our books, Early Italian Recipes, Meat, Meatballs and Sausages, and Early Italian Recipes, Cereals, Bread, Pasta and Pies, which contain recipes selected from primary sources, ranging from the antiquity to the end of the Renaissance. Articles on historical food and translations of ancient and medieval sources, including Maestro Martino's Libro de arte culinaria and Minus de Mineris Opusculum de Saporibus, can be found on our Patreon page. All the links are in the description below, along with the links to buy us a beer and purchase our merchandise to support our work. We bake the pasteri in the oven. When they are almost cooked through, we pour in the oil a mixture of egg and verjuice and cook for another 5 minutes. We cooked the pies for a total of about 40 minutes, but that depends on the size of the pies and the thickness of the dough. If you don't have verjuice, which is the preserved juice of unripe grapes, you can replace it with vinegar, a mixture of vinegar and wine, or a little juice of lemon or orange, which were common substitutes for verjuice in the Middle Ages, according to authors such as Minus de Mineris. This pastero de polastri was incredible, spicy and delicious, with a good balance between the sweetness of the raisins, the sapidity of the pork jowl, and the delicate flavor of the chicken. The blend of spices was perfect for this dish, but it would also be interesting to try a different mixture. For example, you could try the sweet fine spices that we used for the ravioli recipe from Anonimo Veneziano's cookbook, which you'll find in the description below. This pie is an excellent example of the culinary art in the Italian Middle Ages. It would be a great dish to try for a special occasion, such as a Christmas dinner. If you're interested in ancient foods and flavors, subscribe our channel and consider supporting us on Patreon.